What's up, Eagles Nation? If you're still buzzing after that wild win over the Vikings, you're not alone. But hold on, because the birds aren't slowing down. The Philadelphia Eagles are back at it again this week with some major roster updates, a massive divisional showdown looming, and some serious questions surrounding the run game. And yes, we're also going to talk about Jalen Hurts, because while the haters keep yapping, the numbers are starting to scream something else. MVP. Let's kick things off with the roster news that's got people talking. Ja'Cory Bennett is officially back in the mix. The Eagles opened up his practice window ahead of their crucial matchup against the New York Giants this Sunday, and that could have a real impact on how this defense lines up. Bennett, of course, was acquired from the Raiders as part of that series of moves that Howie Roseman made just before the season kicked off. The Eagles knew they needed depth in the secondary, and Bennett, when healthy, brings just that. The problem? We haven't really seen him at full strength yet in Midnight Green. He got hurt in that crazy Week 3 win over the Rams, and since then he's been stashed away on IR. But now, with Adoree Jackson coming off a concussion and Kelee Ringo still struggling to lock things down on the outside, there's a real chance Bennett could step into a bigger role. And Vic Fangio? He seems intrigued. The defensive coordinator admitted he didn't even get a fair shot to evaluate Bennett before the injury. The guy barely had 21 coverage snaps before going down. But Fangio made it clear he wants to get a long look at what Bennett can do, maybe even as soon as this weekend against the Giants. You can tell Fangio sees potential there, potential that maybe isn't being realized by the other options at cornerback too. Because let's be honest, we've seen enough to know that Adoree and Kelee haven't exactly solidified that spot. There have been flashes, sure, but also way too many breakdowns. That's why Bennett could be such an interesting factor. Let's not forget what he did with the Raiders last year. When healthy, he held his own. 18 catches allowed across the entire season. That ranked third among all corners with over 450 snaps. 176 receiving yards allowed, second best. No touchdowns given up, tied for first. 9 pass breakups, and when he was targeted, quarterbacks posted a rating of just over 62. That's elite production. And oh yeah, he went toe-to-toe with Jamar Chase and held him to 3 catches for 16 yards. That's not luck. That's talent, instincts, and execution. Physically, he might not be the prototypical shutdown corner at 5'10" and under 190 pounds, but Bennett is explosive. A vertical leap over 40 inches, broad jump over 11 feet, and he clocked a blazing 4.3 flat in the 40. That's elite athleticism. He's twitchy, he's fast, and, maybe more importantly, he can recover when he gets beat. Compare that to someone like Kelee Ringo. Sure, Ringo is a freak athlete too, tall, strong, fast, but he struggles flipping his hips and throttling down when it matters most. Bennett might just be a better fit for the system Fangio is trying to run. And here's the key. With the trade deadline right around the corner, this is the time to evaluate. If Bennett looks the part, the Eagles might hold off on making a move for another corner. But if he struggles, that could open the door for someone like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who has the versatility to slide into the slot, letting guys like Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean hold down the outside. Speaking of those two, Mitchell and DeJean were absolutely sensational against Justin Jefferson. We're talking about one of the top wide receivers in football, and the duo limited him to just 2 catches for 28 yards. And here's a stat that'll blow your mind. Cooper DeJean hasn't allowed a single touchdown in coverage since college. That's insane. Those two rookies, both of whom somehow fell right into Philly's lap during the draft, are already changing the entire dynamic of this defense. Mitchell, a first-rounder, and DeJean in the second? That's looking like one of the best draft day hauls in recent Eagles history. And let's not forget, this franchise hadn't taken a corner in the first round since 2002 when they grabbed Lito Shepherd. That same year, they also took Sheldon Brown in the second. Those two became one of the best corner duos in the league. History might just be repeating itself in Philly. But while the secondary has shown signs of major growth, the offensive line, that's a different story. And it brings us to the second big roster move of the week, the return of Sua Opeta. The Eagles brought back the veteran offensive lineman, signing him to the practice squad after a stint with the Buccaneers. And honestly, this move might be more important than people realize. The interior offensive line has been straight-up underwhelming this season. Landon Dickerson hasn't looked like himself. Cam Jurgens, fresh off back surgery, is now dealing with a knee injury. And Tyler Steen? He's been serviceable, but let's not kid ourselves. He's a downgrade from what this line used to be. That's why bringing back someone like Opeta, who knows the system, knows the coaching staff, and has starting experience, could be a sneaky smart move. He played 10 games for the Eagles before heading to Tampa, and while it didn't work out with the Bucs, the familiarity he brings might give Philly a little more stability in the trenches. And let's be honest, the numbers don't lie. The Eagles' offensive line is underperforming. They're bottom of the league in some of the most critical run and pass blocking metrics. 27th in yards before contact per carry. 31st in stuffed run percentage. 24th in run block win rate. 25th in pressure rate. 19th in pass block win rate. That's not what we're used to seeing from this group. And it's part of the reason why the run game has been such a disaster. And that leads us to the next big question. What is going on with Saquon Barkley? Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, no, he's not washed. He's not over the hill. He's not cooked. What we're seeing is the result of a run game being sabotaged at the line of scrimmage. Saquon's numbers this season are way down. Just over 360 yards through 7 games. That's 3.3 yards per carry. Only 3 touchdowns. And worst of all, not a single game with over 100 scrimmage yards. Compare that to where he was last year at this time. Over 700 yards, nearly 6 yards per carry, and 5 touchdowns. The contrast is staggering. But the tape doesn't lie. He still has the explosiveness. He still has that burst, that ability to make people miss. The problem is he's getting hit in the backfield almost every time he touches the ball. That elite Eagles offensive line that used to be the foundation of the offense, right now it's more like quicksand. The yards before contact stat tells the whole story. Last year, Saquon was getting almost 4 yards before defenders even touched him. This year, less than 2. That's 6 feet of space wiped away. And when you're losing that kind of room at the line, even the best backs in the game will struggle. Sure, maybe Saquon can do a better job of taking what's there instead of always looking for the home run. He's admitted as much himself. But more often than not, there's nothing there. The holes are gone. The push isn't there. And for an offense that thrives on balance and rhythm, that's a problem. But you know who's kept things moving despite all of this? Jalen Hurts. Let's give this man his flowers because the narrative around him has been absolutely wild. Some folks are acting like he's having a down year. But if you actually watch the games and look at the numbers, you'll see a quarterback quietly pushing his way into the MVP conversation. Since week 3, Hurts has been that guy. 11 touchdowns to just 1 interception. 13 total touchdowns. Over 1,200 passing yards. One of the top quarterbacks in the league in passer rating, yards per attempt, and efficiency. The Eagles are 5-2, and without Hurts holding it together while the run game collapses, who knows where this team would be? And maybe the best example of his growth came on that crucial 3rd down against the Vikings. It was late in the game, clock winding down, and the Eagles needed a big conversion. Minnesota brought pressure. Hurts pointed to A.J. Brown before the snap. A little signal, subtle but calculated. That fake point faked out Isaiah Rodgers completely. Rodgers bid on the in-breaking route, thinking Hurts was giving away the read. But Hurts and A.J. were playing chess, not checkers. A.J. fakes the cut, Rodgers breaks inside, and boom, A.J. is gone. Hurts, under pressure, off his back foot, drops it in the bucket for the dagger. That's not just athleticism. That's football IQ. That's poise. That's trust between quarterback and receiver. As we look ahead to Sunday's showdown with the Giants, everything circles back to one core issue: identity. What is the true identity of this Eagles team right now? Because last year it was obvious. They were bullies in the trenches, dominating teams on both sides of a line of scrimmage, running the football with authority, and letting that offensive line take over games late. But in 2025, that identity has been shaken. The ground game, which used to be the league's most feared weapon, is now a question mark. The offensive line, once an unbreakable wall, is now springing leaks at the worst possible times. And while Jalen Hurts has done everything in his power to carry this offense, the imbalance is starting to show. That's why this game against the Giants matters so much. It's not just a divisional rivalry. It's not just another game on the schedule. This is about sending a message. The Giants, let's be honest, are a team in transition. They got holes. They're banged up. They're inconsistent. But what they do have is a defense that plays hard. And if the Eagles sleepwalk into this one thinking it's a free win, things could spiral quickly. That's what makes the return of Jacorian Bennett and the possible emergence of new contributors like Sua Opeta even more important. The Eagles don't need to be perfect this week. They need to be sharper, more disciplined, and a whole lot tougher. Defensively, the Eagles are beginning to look like the unit fans were promised before the season started. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean continue to exceed expectations. And when you add in the possibility of having a healthy Bennett in that rotation, this secondary could start locking teams down in ways we haven't seen from Philly in years. That's especially critical with the trade deadline approaching. If Bennett proves he can be trusted on the boundary, the Eagles might not need to mortgage future assets to bring in a veteran rental. But if he struggles, and if Adoree Jackson and Khalil Ringo continue to give up critical plays, Howie Roseman is absolutely going to make a move. He's too aggressive, and this team is too talented to let cornerback 2 be a weak link all year. And here's the crazy thing. Despite all the inconsistency, despite the issues on the offensive line and the lack of a run game, the Eagles are still 5-2. That speaks volumes about the leadership on this team, especially from the quarterback position. Jalen Hurts has handled adversity like a true pro. He's been calm in the pocket, aggressive when needed, and most importantly, mentally locked in. The chemistry he's building with A.J. Brown continues to grow each week. A.J. is putting up ridiculous numbers, and Hurts is trusting him in every big moment. Whether it's a back shoulder fade, a quick slant in traffic, or a deep shot when the defense least expects it, Hurts and Brown are becoming one of the most dangerous duos in the league. And it's not just Brown. Devonta Smith continues to make timely plays. Dallas Goedert is finding soft spots in coverage. Even guys like Quez Watkins and Olamide Zaccoz are stepping up when their number gets called. The pieces are there. The talent is not in question. What's holding this offense back is rhythm and consistency. That starts in the trenches. Because if the offensive line can't establish dominance early, it throws off everything else. The timing, the spacing, the play calling, all of it suffers. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL world is buzzing tonight as whispers turn into headlines. The Philadelphia Eagles have reportedly secured the services of star running back Christian McCaffrey. Sources close to the organization suggest that the move, while still pending official league approval, could redefine the Eagles' offensive landscape and send shockwaves through the NFC. For months, rumors have swirled about McCaffrey's future. After years of stellar performances with his previous team, his versatility as both a runner and receiver has made him one of the most coveted players in the league. Philadelphia, long searching for a dynamic playmaker to elevate their offense, may have finally landed the perfect puzzle piece. Insiders hint that the deal could be one of the most significant acquisitions in recent Eagles history, though the financial details and draft picks involved remain tightly under wraps. Fans across the country are already imagining the possibilities. McCaffrey's ability to exploit defenses both on the ground and through the air could open the door for quarterback Jalen Hurts to unleash an even more aggressive and unpredictable offense. Social media is ablaze, with Eagles supporters speculating on how his presence could affect the team's playoff chances and even Super Bowl aspirations. Meanwhile, rival teams are reportedly scrambling to adjust their strategies, knowing that a backfield featuring McCaffrey could be nearly unstoppable. Yet, as with any blockbuster rumor, skepticism lingers. Analysts caution that until the Eagles release a formal statement and the league confirms the transaction, nothing is set in stone. Still, the atmosphere in Philadelphia is electric. Bars and sports forums are flooded with chatter as fans dissect potential formations, fantasy football implications, and whether this move signals a full-scale championship push. If confirmed, McCaffrey's arrival could mark the beginning of a new era for the Eagles. The city that once roared for legends like Brian Westbrook may soon have a new superstar to rally behind. One thing is certain. The rumor alone has already shaken the NFL, and if it becomes reality, Philadelphia football might never be the same again. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.